Hi, this is Pereira from P3 Designs. Today I was asked how I make my circles for my applique. One of the ways I make them is with scrapbooking hole punches. Very efficient way to cut out perfect circles. The other way is using my Silhouette Cameo, which is a cutting machine, and that is a whole different video. First thing I do is I'm going to place down a Teflon pressing sheet on my ironing mat, and I'm going to take 2 layers or 3 layers of freezer paper, and you're going to iron each one individually to pre-shrink. All freezer paper shrinks, so you want to iron it to pre-shrink it so that it will iron together much better and nicer and flatter. And so once I have that done, I'm going to iron the 2 layers together. This time I'm only going to be using 2 layers, but like I said, 3 layers is much better because you have a much firmer template to work with, especially if you're a beginner. Now I use a Teflon pressing sheet underneath here, and the reason that I do that is that my freezer paper will stick to it when I iron it, but when I pull it up, nothing sticks to it. So it maintains the stickiness on my freezer paper. And this way I can use my templates over again. Once I've done with my pressing sheet, I'll set that off to the side. And the next step that you want to do is you want to take a pen or a pencil, and you just want to draw some lines on your paper. Now these lines are on the paper so that we can tell the difference between the wrong side and the right side of the fabric. So I'm just going to take one of my templates here and my scrapbooking hole punches and punch out a circle. So it's a very efficient way to cut out circles. Now the paper side is indicated because I have the black line on there, and now I know I won't get these stuck to the bottom of my iron. Next you're going to take, and I have a bunch of holes that I punched out and that I actually cut out with my Silhouette Cameo. You can just fill the page until it, and it will cut out as many circles as you can put on one page. I'm going to take one of these a little bit smaller to work with right now, and I'm going to iron it to the wrong side of my fabric. Once I've ironed it to the wrong side of the fabric, you're going to cut it out, and let's see if I can zoom in a little here. I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to cut it out with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around. You want to try to keep it about 1/8 of an inch because if you're working with a larger seam allowance, it just creates more bulk. Okay. Once you have your shape cut out, then you're ready to work. Now I like to use Niagara non-aerosol spray starch. I spray it into my little container, and then I'm ready to start working. One of the things I do always when I'm working with circles, let's get this in a nice place where you can see exactly what's going on. When I'm working with circles, I will usually stick a pin in the center of the circle, and it kind of controls where your shape is, and especially the smaller the circles, you don't have to chase them around the ironing board. I'm going to take my 1/8 inch stencil brush, and I like the 1/8 inch because I can really control where I'm putting my starch. And you want your starch just on your seam allowance. Now I'm using the larger iron here to start with, just to show you that you can do this with the larger iron. It works very well, but I really do like using the smaller Sherry's Cool tool when I'm doing circles, because I can see so much easier what I'm working on. Once I get to a certain awkward point, I will just spin my piece around so that I can continue ironing around the shape. And now I'm going to show you the Sherry's Cool tool. Sherry's Cool tool is a really small iron. It's made for putting on crystals, but it also comes with 5 different feet, and one of them is this tiny little iron foot, which is wonderful for doing detail work on any of your applique shapes. And you can see it's a little bit easier for me to see what's going on when I'm working around this circle. Main thing is you need to leave the iron on here a little bit longer with the small foot so that you can make sure that your seam allowance is dry. I'm going to come back with a little bit more starch, and I only starch an area that I can easily iron. I don't want to put starch all the way around the shape, because if I do, my template will start to distort, and then it'll get soft, and as I'm ironing, what will happen is it'll start to collapse, and then you're going to lose the integrity of your template, and your outside edge may not be as nice and round as you would like it. And that's one of the reasons why I actually like to use the 3 layers of freezer paper, because you get a much firmer edge to work with. I'm going to come around here, and then you always are going to go past the area where you first initially started ironing, so you can evenly distribute and smooth out that area. Once you've gone all the way around your shape, then what I generally do is I will pick it up and I look at it from, the front, because I want to be able to look at it and see all of my edges. Now, if I see something that I don't like, I can come back, and generally that's where a pleat is. I can come back, I can hit it with a little bit of the starch, and you could just easily pull in or push out any imperfections that you have made initially. Once you're done with your shape, then you can turn it over to the front. I hit it again with the iron to make sure that the coating is really warm, and then I'm going to reach inside and just pull out my template. Once I pull out my template, I lay it back down on the ironing board with the seam allowances facing up, and I hit it with the iron, and just to make sure my seam allowances are all nice and flat. And now it's ready to be placed on any of my applique backgrounds. It's an easy way to make circles. They come out perfect. Thank you for watching.